They took everything from her, but could not take her destiny. Yet Madison refused to let their betrayal decide her ending. Her family stole her home, her savings, and her mother's last letter. But one hidden document, one courtroom, and one promise turned a broken girl into the woman they feared. My name is Madison. I was 17 when my mother died, and that was the night my life was quietly stolen from me. My mother, Claire, had raised me alone in a small yellow house outside Denver. She worked as a seamstress, then later opened a tiny alterations shop behind a dry cleaner. We were never rich, but our home always smelled like lavender detergent, hot tea, and fabric steam. She could turn a torn prom dress into something beautiful. She used to tell me, Madison, people can take money, furniture, even comfort. But they cannot take the gift God stitched into your hands. I wanted to become a fashion designer, not the red carpet kind, the kind who made clothes for real women. Working women, mothers, girls who wanted to feel seen. I kept sketchbooks under my bed, filled with dresses, coats, uniforms, wedding gowns, and little notes from Mom in the margins. This sleeve needs more courage. This waistline has grace. This one feels like you. After she got sick, Mom made me promise I would apply to Cedar Ridge College of Design in Chicago. She said she had put money aside. She said there was a folder for me. She said if anything happened, my Uncle Brent knew where it was. I believed her. That was my mistake. Brent was my mother's older brother. He owned a used car lot in Aurora and talked like every sentence was a business deal. His wife Dana smiled with her mouth but never with her eyes. Their daughter Shelby was my age. After the funeral, Brent stood in our kitchen with one hand on my shoulder and said, "Your family. We'll take care of everything." I was too numb to ask what everything meant. Within 2 weeks, he had my mother's papers, her keys, her bank cards, her shop records, and every document I should have been reading myself. He said there were debts, medical bills, back taxes, funeral costs. He said the house needed to be sold fast before the bank took it. I asked about the college fund. He sighed like I had disappointed him. "Your mother wanted that," he said, "but sickness is expensive." There's nothing left. I didn't cry in front of him. I had already learned that tears gave people like Brent something to use, so I nodded, quietly. 3 months later, our yellow house was sold. Mom's shop was emptied. Her sewing machines went into Brent's garage. Her jewelry disappeared. Her good dishes appeared in Dana's dining room cabinet. Shelby wore my mother's blue wool coat to school and told people I had given it to her. I had not. I moved into Brent's basement. They called it my room. It had concrete walls, one small window, and a folding table where I kept my sketchbooks. Dana gave me chores before school and after school. Shelby took my clothes without asking. Brent charged me $200 a month for groceries from the part-time money I made at a grocery store bakery. When I got my acceptance email from Cedar Ridge, I screamed into a pillow. I had done it. Even without Mom, even with everything gone. I ran upstairs with my phone in my hand. Brent read the email, then handed the phone back. "Chicago is expensive." I said, "I can apply for aid. I can work." Dana crossed her arms. "And who's paying your bus ticket, your supplies, your little dream life?" Shelby laughed from the kitchen island. "Not everyone with a sketchbook becomes famous, Madison." I looked at Brent. He said, "Be realistic. You need stability, not fantasy." A week later, the acceptance email vanished from my account. So did the scholarship portal. Brent said maybe I had missed the deadline. I knew I hadn't, but I couldn't prove anything. By 19, I had stopped talking about design. By 22, I was working full-time at a discount department store in downtown Denver. I rented a room from an older woman named Ruth who let me pay late twice and never made me feel small for it. I still sketched, only at night, only when no one could see. That was my little rebellion. Then Ruth changed everything. She found me at the kitchen table one Sunday, sewing a torn sleeve on her church dress by hand. She watched me for a while and said, "You don't sew like someone who learned from YouTube." I told her about Mom, not all of it. Enough. The next day she brought me a cardboard box from her attic. Fabric scraps, old patterns, buttons, thread. She said, use it. I started making small things. Aprons, altered dresses, simple work blouses. Then one of Ruth's church friends asked me to fix a bridesmaid dress. Then another asked for a custom jacket. Then someone posted my work online and strangers were messaging me. For the first time in years, I felt my mother close again. Not as a ghost, as a promise. I named my tiny side business Claire's Thread. I made an online page, nothing fancy, just photos on a white wall and prices that were probably too low. 3 months later, Shelby found it. She sent me a message from a new number. Cute little hobby. Don't embarrass yourself. I blocked her. 2 days later, Dana called Ruth's house phone and told her I was unstable, dishonest, and stealing from family. Ruth listened quietly, then said, "Honey, I'm old, not stupid. Don't call my house again." That was the first time someone outside my mother defended me like I mattered. The real trouble started when a local boutique owner named Owen ordered 6 custom linen dresses from me. He paid half up front. $1,800. It was the biggest order I had ever received. I bought fabric carefully. I kept receipts. I worked every night after my store shift. Then the fabric disappeared. I came home from work and found my room open. The boxes were gone. My sketchbook was gone too, the one with my best designs. Mom's notes, my future. Ruth was at her sister's house that day. No one else had a key, except Brent. Because years earlier, when I had first moved in, he had insisted on having an emergency copy. I had forgotten. I called him. He answered like he had been waiting. "You need to stop making accusations," he said before I said anything. My hand tightened around the phone. "Where is my fabric?" He said, "You mean the supplies you bought with money you owe this family." I almost laughed. "What money? All those years we fed you, housed you, protected you, you think that was free?" I said I was a minor. He said, "And now you're an adult. Time to settle accounts." I hung up. Then I drove to his house. Not because I expected him to hand anything back, because I needed to see with my own eyes what kind of person he had finally become. Shelby opened the door wearing a half-finished linen dress. My linen. My pattern. My mother's blue measuring tape around her neck. For a second, I couldn't move. Then I said, "Take it off." She smiled. "You don't own a shape, Madison." I looked past her and saw my fabric stacked on Dana's dining table. My sketchbook beside it, open, marked with sticky notes. Brent came down the hall. "This little business ends now," he said. "You're making the family look bad." I said one sentence. "I want my things back by tonight." Dana laughed. "Or what?" I looked at each of them, or I stopped being quiet. They thought that was funny. Until I filed a police report. Ruth gave a statement. Owen sent receipts proving he had paid me. I took screenshots of Shelby wearing my unfinished work after she foolishly posted a mirror selfie captioned, "New collection loading." 3 days later, I received a letter from a lawyer, Brent's lawyer. It said I was making defamatory claims and owed Brent $9,600 for unpaid living expenses from age 17 to 19. I stared at the number. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, because something inside me had finally broken clean. I took the letter to a free legal clinic downtown. That was where I met Nina, a legal aid attorney with silver glasses and the calmest voice I had ever heard. She read the letter. Then she read my police report. Then she asked, "Did your mother leave a will?" I said, "Brent told me she didn't." Nina looked up. "Told you?" That one question opened the door. Over the next 2 weeks, Nina helped me request records, probate records, property records, bank documents, old court filings, things I never knew I had the right to see, and there it was. My mother had left a will, not only a will, a trust. The yellow house had not needed to be sold to pay debts. It had been left to me. Her shop equipment had been left to me. A savings account with $46,000 had been left for my education. Brent had been named temporary executor because I was still a minor. Temporary. There is that word again. The house had sold for $214,000. The money had passed through an account Brent controlled, then disappeared. My college fund had been emptied. My mother's sewing machines had been sold. Her shop name had been canceled, and in the file was a scanned letter from my mother addressed to me. A letter I had never seen. Nina printed it for me. I sat in her office holding those pages with both hands. "My sweet Madison," it began, "if you are reading this, I need you to remember that grief is not the end of your story. You were born with light in your hands. Do not let anyone convince you to live small because they are afraid of what you might become." I couldn't read the rest at first. My eyes blurred. Nina slid a box of tissues across the desk. She didn't say "poor thing." She didn't say "calm down." She just let me break. Then she said, "Madison, what they did was not just cruel, it may be illegal." That sentence changed my life. We filed, first for an accounting of the estate, then for theft of property, then for fraud. Brent exploded. Flying monkeys came from every direction. Dana texted, "Your mother would be ashamed of you." Shelby posted online, "Some people play victim because they failed in life." A cousin named Tyler messaged, "Brent did his best. You're being greedy." I answered Tyler once. My mother left me a home, a college fund, and a letter. Brent took all three. "Choose your side carefully." He did not reply. Brent showed up at the department store where I worked and asked for my manager. He said I was stealing from customers and running an illegal business. My manager, Harper, called me into the office. I thought I was fired. Instead, she closed the door and said, "You want me to ban him from the store?" I stared at her. She said, "Madison, I've seen you work double shifts for 3 years. That man is not here because you did something wrong. He's here because you finally did something right." I cried again. I was doing that a lot, but I was also still moving. Nina sent a cease and desist letter. Owen extended my dress deadline and paid for replacement fabric. Ruth changed the locks. Harper gave me 2 extra mornings off so I could attend hearings. And I started sewing again, not because it was easy, because if I stopped, Brent won. The first hearing was small, but Brent arrived like he was walking into a board meeting. Dana sat beside him with a beige purse in her lap. Shelby wore one of my designs under a blazer as if daring me to react. I didn't. Nina placed documents in front of the judge: the will, the trust, the house sale, the bank withdrawals, the letter. Brent's lawyer said Brent had used the money for my care. Nina asked for receipts. There were none. Brent said records had been lost. Nina showed bank statements from casino withdrawals in Black Hawk, a down payment on Shelby's car, Dana's kitchen renovation, and a family cruise to Florida 6 months after my mother died. The judge's face changed slowly. That was the moment I knew, not that I had won, but that I had survived long enough for the truth to enter the room. The case took 8 months, 8 brutal months. Shelby tried to launch a clothing page using altered versions of my sketches. I reported it with proof. It came down. Brent sent me one email at 2:13 in the morning. "After everything we did for you, this is how you repay us." I replied with one sentence: "You didn't raise me. You robbed me." Then I blocked him. During those months, Claire's thread grew. Not quickly. Honestly. Owen sold my dresses in his boutique with a small card that said "Designed by Madison." A local news blogger wrote a short piece about affordable custom clothing. Orders came in from teachers, nurses, office workers, brides, and women who said they had never found clothes that fit both their bodies and their lives. I worked until my fingers cramped. I kept Mom's printed letter taped above my sewing table. "You were born with light in your hands." When the final hearing came, I wore a navy dress I made myself. Simple, fitted, strong. Mom would have liked it. The courtroom was quiet. Brent looked smaller than before. Dana looked angry. Shelby looked scared. The judge ruled that Brent had breached his duty as executor. He ordered repayment from the estate funds he had taken, plus damages. The car lot had liens placed on it. Dana's renovated kitchen became part of the financial investigation. Shelby was ordered to stop using my designs or business name in any form. It was not movie justice. No one screamed. No one fainted. But Brent's face went gray when the amount was read. $187,000 in restitution and penalties. I did not smile. Money could not give me back my mother. It could not give me Cedar Ridge at 18. It could not give me the yellow house as it was, with lavender curtains and Mom humming in the kitchen. But it gave me proof. They had taken everything. And still, they had not taken my destiny. 6 months after the ruling, I signed a lease for a small studio in Denver. Not big. Not glamorous. White walls. Good windows. One bathroom that made a strange noise when the light turned on. I loved every inch. I put Mom's old sign near the door, Claire's Thread. The original one. Nina had found it in storage after Brent was forced to disclose what he still had. Then a young girl walked in with her mother. She was holding a sketchbook. Her mother said she wants to learn design, but she's shy. The girl showed me a drawing of a purple dress with crooked sleeves. I looked at it seriously and said, "This sleeve needs more courage." Her eyes lit up, and for 1 second I felt my mother standing right beside me. A year later, Shelby messaged me from another account. "I heard your shop is doing well." That was all. No apology, no ownership, just a little hook thrown into the water to see if I would bite. I didn't. Brent lost the car lot. Dana moved into a townhouse and tells people the court was biased. Shelby works at a salon now and still tells people I destroyed her family. Maybe I did, but only after they built that family on what they stole from mine. As for me, I am 30 now. I did not go to Cedar Ridge at 18, but I teach weekend sewing classes. I design for women who cry in my fitting room because something finally fits. I have a studio with my mother's letter framed behind the counter. And every time I lock the door at night, I whisper, "We made it." People think destiny is some magical road that opens easily if you are meant for it. It is not. Sometimes destiny is a needle you pick up with shaking hands. Sometimes it is a folder someone hid from you. Sometimes it is one honest person saying, "You have the right to know." And sometimes destiny is simply refusing to let thieves become the authors of your life. They took my home. They took my money. They took my mother's letter. They took years I cannot recover. But they could not take what she planted in me. They could not take my hands. They could not take my courage. They could not take my name. And they could not take my destiny. If this story touched your heart, comment below and tell me what you would have done in Madison's place. Have you ever had someone try to steal your future or make you feel small? Please subscribe, like, and share this story with someone who needs hope, and tell us your opinion in the comments.